Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby and welcome back to World of Tanks. I'm playing with my good buddies Ike and Jingles, as we do every Thursday on my live stream, in our 110s. These are tier 8 Chinese heavy tanks and we are in a rather tasty matchup. This is a gorgeous matchup for these tanks. There are no tier 9s on the enemy team, only a third of the enemy are tier 8 and the rest are tier 7. With, unfortunately for this VK3001P, only one tier 6, excluding a scout tank. Now the reason why I say this is a lovely matchup for the 110 is because this is a tank that relies on its frontal armor. It's a bit like an IS-7 at tier 8 with this pike nose. If you get the distance right, your lower plate will be angled and very strong, and this machine is very good at face-hugging its opponents. Now we're playing on Stalingrad, a recently introduced map, and I'm still trying to learn out how to attack down the west here. And so we're slowly advancing, one by one, checking our corners, trying to find out where the enemy team is. And it's very important to do so, because there's a platoon on the enemy team of 50-100s. Now those are tier 8 French heavy tanks, and they're equipped with a 100mm autoloader that carries 6 rounds of 300 alpha damage ammunition. It doesn't even really have to penetrate all 6 shots on you to be able to take you out. I put one into the Panther M10, and unfortunately Jingles has found the 50-100s. One of them is advancing very aggressively across. And me and Ike are still learning this map. We find out very quickly that we can't go through here. My only chance is to try and shoot through this tiny little gap to put one into the side of the 50-100 as we came to try and support Jingles. But that is the very dangerous fact about 50-100s. If they want to kill you, it's very hard to stop them from doing so. I quickly spot one trying to come in from behind. I want to try and get into cover to stop him from doing that. Put a shot into the lower plate of the Tiger II with the rather nice performing 100mm. Unfortunately, Ike gets stuck, set on fire by the Jagdpanther, and absolutely obliterated before I could get in front of him to protect him. What a disastrous round for our platoon, and I've been very fortunate that I'm the last man standing. As a Panther M10 sneaks one into the back of my tank, he probably won't be trying to do that again in a hurry after we dish out 302 alpha damage to him. Now I'm under a huge amount of pressure, and I've realized, well, the enemy have got 2 artillery. I better get myself into cover quickly, and there appears the Hummel. The 110 might have fantastic armor, but getting shot in the back by artillery is going to be a very easy way for you to lose your health. But now, I have to put pressure up. I decide to try and finish off this Panther M10 first, and then I turn my attention to the VK3001P, this very unfortunate fellow. A tier 6 heavy tank versus a tier 8 heavy tank with very good frontal armor is not very fair. I push him up to try and stop him from having the gun depression to be able to engage me. I quickly check around me to see what's going to get me. Thankfully nothing. We've got some time to finish him off. And I was just feeling very happy that the artillery hasn't yet touched me. And thankfully the SDA-1 took out the Hummel. However, our other flank has fallen, T-34-3, and also a T-29 and a platoon with a Tiger P have made their way back towards the base. And the 110 is not a slow tank as we're seeing here. I'm trying to save this Su-152. Shoot the VK once. I try to ram him, but we only ram him for 79, as that is a very fat little light tank. I'm trying to nudge the VK to stop him from shooting the Su. We managed to take him out before he dies. But it didn't do him much good, as the Tiger P probably snipes him along this line. Great shot there by the Tiger P. And the SDA-1 gets shotgunned by the M12. Meaning that we're now in a 2 versus poor situation. Myself and a T-28 who is currently in a rather precarious situation. And there's the T-34-3. He shoots directly into our gun with an AP round. We put one into him. With his AP ammunition, with 175mm of penetration, he has practically no chance to penetrate our tank. I want to close the distance and kill him quickly. I repair my gun. Now he fires a heat round, which has got 250mm of penetration. We also take a shot from the Tiger P, but it's too late for the T-34-3. With its very mediocre rate of fire, we're able to take him down. So I get shot in the side there by an 87, and what I'm thinking right now is get my backside into some cover from the artillery, and also away from the 87 and the Tiger P. I don't really want to engage them by myself. I wanted to delay the game and to allow the T-28 back into base. At least then we can flank the opponents together in a pincer move and hopefully negate the advantage that that 87 has. And that is being one of the most scary tanks for trading with at Tier 7. So I see the Tiger P in the side, take a swing at him, and do my first bit of damage to that Tier 7 German Panzer. So I proceed down this alleyway and spot the 87. The T-28 has finally made the engagement, and the 87's aiming in the side at me. Luckily his gun is to the right, so it's very hard for him to shoot me right now, and I managed to snipe into the horrible weak point that's on top of that Tier 7 British tank destroyer. The Tiger P is trying to flank me. Thankfully we spotted him, and so I don't get ambushed, and I know I have to breach out. I have to kill this 87 quickly and get myself into cover to stop the Tiger P, as well as evading the enemy artillery. Now, I'm firing some APCR rounds here. They're not particularly needed to the side of the 87. This situation is so close, it's on a knife edge, until we killed that 87 that I couldn't afford a bounce. Just to pause the video here for a second, a weak point that not a lot of people know on a Tiger P. This is his front plate, and then you see the area between these two welds here. What I would call the cheeks of his hull is a terrible weak point that is easily penetrated by any tank that these vehicles can meet. Remember, this also applies to the Ferdinand, which has the hull of the Tiger P as well, so if you're having trouble penetrating these tanks and you can't shoot in the cupola, that's a good tip to be able to penetrate a Ferdinand and a Tiger P every time. Now I'm feeling very confident here, but I also don't want to get shot by the artillery, so I pull back and get myself into cover. I believe the only way I'm going to lose this game right now is if the artillery hit me, because my armor should be able to hold up against the Tiger P. So I come around the corner, I bounce him, and I put one into him, and I decide to advance to get myself out of that location where the artillery could hit me. It is all going so swimmingly. However, now the Tiger P puts a good shot into our lower plate, and we advance around the corner, tracking him and holding him in place. Now I'm trying to side scrape out. Absolute disaster! It doesn't look like I was side scraping perfectly there, and the Tiger P manages to penetrate me. I did feel a little bit rushed in this engagement as the enemy still had an artillery left, and as you can see, I'm really not in very much cover. I wanted to try and quickly deal with the situation and avoid dying to the enemy artillery. As we can see here, the Tiger P was able to see the back of my tank, and I was just angling a little too much. If we take a look at this shot in Tank Inspector, we can see what his chances were. So all along the spaced armor on the top half is an auto ricochet. All along this part of the side armor is an auto ricochet if you're using a 105mm APCR because of the angle, but somehow there's a tiny area here that could be penetrated by between 100 and 200mm of penetration. And on closer inspection using What Tank Viewer, he must have hit this drive wheel to be able to penetrate the tank. What are the chances of that, hey? But anyway, the battle continues on, and my T-28 buddy is now on 80% of his hit points versus the Tiger P. He crashes into my corpse. Tries to look round the corner. You're going to have to just go round and brave it, friend. He's still trying to turn on my wreck. He manages to get round. Yo, just not quite quick enough. And the Tiger P manages to evade him. Come on, Mr. T28. We're relying on you. You can do it. As he pops his gun round the corner. Bounces off the front hull of the Tiger P. Gets tracked and is, oh, just manages to hit him and take him out. What a great shot. So, now this T-28 is tracked in the open with the enemy artillery. We were just waiting for it. No, it goes into the side. This guy is very, very, very lucky indeed. But we're going to continue on his mission. So before that incident, I was feeling very much in control of this game. We're on 5 kills, 6,000 damage, thinking, nice easy Top Gun. Maybe also hunting down the artillery at the end and take down the 7th. But what a difference a drive wheel on the back of the 110 can make. But our faith is now in T-28. I'm just going to speed up the gameplay a bit here. As the T-28 decides to drive into a wall and then make his way towards the enemy base. Now the T-28 is the Tier 8 American tank destroyer, and it is very, 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 very slow indeed. It's only marginally faster than the T-95, and that's why it takes this gentleman a wee while to get into the enemy spawn, going at 17 to 18 kilometers an hour. And it's very tense. The artillery is going to have to hit him for a fair old margin to be able to remove his 918 hit points, but it is a Tier 7 American artillery with a very large caliber gun. The T-28 finally makes it into the cap circle. Where's that M12? Tier 8 tank destroyers do not have a large amount of hit points, so even though this T-28 has 80% of his remaining hit points left, as we mentioned, that's still only 900 and very within the realms of an artillery one-shot. Where is he? Where is he? The T-28 has no idea where he is. For some reason, I go back to my 110 wreck. Now back to the T-28. The M12 nearly gets the ambush and fires for some reason clean into the building, but is able to pull back in time before the T-28 can reverse. But time is on our side now. The T-28 is inside the cap circle. Within 50 seconds, the artillery is unable to splash him. We will come away with a win. Thank goodness that M12 probably got a little bit unlucky. He was probably aiming for here to splash the T-28, to interrupt him, take off a bit of his hit points, and then reload for one final hurrah. Where's the M12 going to be coming from? There he is! Headshot! Our T-28 finishes the game off in style. Thank you so much, Super Kaizen, for carrying me there and getting yourself a well-earned Top Gun. And commiserations to the enemy artillery, just wasn't your day today with a couple of the misses that you had. But at least you went down swinging and didn't try to drown yourself in the River Volga. Let's just take a very quick look at the post-game stats. So hopefully this replay showed you some of the strengths of the 110. We got our Ace Tanker badge, a Defender medal, and a high caliber for this game, doing 6,000 damage for our 5 kills. We fired 21, of which 21 hit and 21 penetrated, as pretty much all of the fighting on Stalingrad is short to medium ranges. And unless you go and fight down the East Pass, down by the river, then it's very hard to even miss your opponents, even with the least accurate guns in the game. Our armor held up very well here. We took 3,000 potential before we went down to that final shot, and we barely snuck in the Defender medal, getting 76 base defense points. Well played to this T28. Thank you so much for finishing the game off with me. Couldn't have done it without you. And the final shot of the game netted him a Top Gun to go with his steel wall. I was very happy with my 1,597 base experience points. This 110 is such a solid vehicle. One other thing that we learned is if a 5100 wants to kill you and he's willing to sacrifice his entire tank to do so, there's very little that you can do. I'm still learning Stalingrad and I was unable to get over to Jingles quicker. Nevertheless, this was still a fantastic game in the 110 and hopefully I showed you some of its strengths and why it is a great alternative to the IS-3. The 110 has better view range, better frontal armor, lower alpha damage, but it has a great rate of fire which does allow you to finish off targets quicker, as well as the enhanced aim time and accuracy that does come with that lower caliber gun. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider rating it down below. I really appreciate it and it helps the channel out immensely. And if you want to see a full tank review of the 110, then click up here and I'll let you know everything that you need to know about this Tier 8 Chinese heavy tank and why it is one of the strongest entries in the bracket. And if you're a 110 driver, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the tank directly in comparison to the IS-3. I'd also be interested to know the opinion of players that do a lot of team battles and tank companies. How does the 110 compare? Is it a worthy IS-3 replacement? Or is it completely situational? Anyway guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.